going to be going over and having presentations from our grants department, our communications team, our regional coordinators, as well as our California Climate Action Corps fellows and our GIS specialists to go over the results from our needs assessment survey that each organization took. And we'll also have time for each of the organizations to introduce themselves. There hasn't been an opportunity yet to meet with each other. And so we're going to go ahead and start with some California Fire Safe Council staff introductions. We have our clearinghouse manager, Amber Gardner, with us today. And so Amber, I'll go ahead and pass it over to you.
Good morning, everyone. It's so nice to see you here on the screens. Like Nina said, I'm Amber Gardner, the clearinghouse manager for the California Fire Safe Council. I've heard that you've had some really successful startup projects with these grants, so I'm really thrilled to hear that. Nina is the newest member of our grant team, and I know she's done an excellent job of working with you, so glad to hear that. You guys are part of our sort of beta test of a new level of training and support we're giving to our emerging fire safe councils. So thank you for being a part of it. We're really sort of upping our game with getting a list of needs from our new emerging fire safe councils and how we can help you more than just with grant funds. So you're the first group that's been a part of that, and we hope to take our lessons learned from here and integrate it into our grant system as a whole. So we love to hear back from you of what you gain from that. We do hope to have some sort of a lessons learned from this PowerPoint today, from our discussions and questions you guys come up with that we can share after this as well. So I appreciate your time and energy today and with these grants, and looking forward to more of this conversation.
Thanks, Amber. Let's go ahead and continue on with staff intros, and Becca, you can go next, and then we'll do a popcorn style.
Absolutely. So hi, everyone. I believe I've been able to meet most of y'all with our check-in calls with Nina. So my name is Becca Joyner. I am a senior grant specialist at CFFC. And I usually work on our SFA or our federal grants that we have, but I also assist with our SCE or our Edison grants that we have. And I've been helping train Nina as she is our newest staff member for this grant. But you all have talked to me multiple times and you know how I can ramble. So I will go ahead and quickly pass off over to Laura.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. I am Lara Papiak, Communications and Outreach Coordinator. I have a great presentation for you guys today. I took a little bit of look at each of your organizations, so I'm excited to get to know all of you and get to see what you're all doing in your communities. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. And I will popcorn to Rachel.
Hi, my name is Rachel Brady, and I am the GIS specialist with the California Fire Safe Council. And I'm excited to share with you some GIS resources and, get you committed to GIS in your organization. And so I'm going to popcorn to Julia.
I am Julia Marcelli. I am a staff grant specialist working specifically on the county coordinator grant. All right, I will go to Mike.
Oop, had a little hold issue there on my mic. I apologize. My name is Mike Wilson. I'm the Northern California Regional Coordinator for California Fire Safe Council. Although I'm up north, basically Sacramento County and upward to the Oregon border, I spend some time down in your area in Southern California supporting our Southern Regional Coordinator, Brittany Munoz, and I'll hand it over to her.
Hi, everyone. Brittany Munoz here. I am your Southern California Regional Coordinator. I am your boots on the ground support staff to help you through the process. I'm going to be explaining that a little bit more, what that entails in the presentation. So with that being said, I'm going to send it off to Brooke McAllister, the Central California Regional Coordinator.
Excuse me. Hi, all. Brooke McAllister, Central California Regional Coordinator. Really happy to see new fire safe councils emerging. You are the reason that we're all here doing this. We really appreciate you. So happy to meet you all. I'm going to pass it over to Dan.
Hi, I'm Dan Lang. I'm a senior grant specialist with the California Fire Safe Council. And right now I'm working primarily on our 21 CAL FIRE evacuation route planning and implementation grant program. And I also working on some federal state fire assistance grants that we have from previous fiscal years. And with that, I will pass it to Dave Farley.
Good morning, Dave Farley, Senior Grant Specialist with the California Fire Safe Council, obviously. I am working primarily on our CAL FIRE grants, defensible space, and like Dan mentioned, the evacuation routes grant, and our federally funded regional wildfire mitigation program through NIFWIF in the Santa Barbara County area. And with that, I will pass it to, wait, everybody's picture just shifted on me here. Thomas, have you gone? If not, please.
Thank you very much, Dave, and nice to meet everyone in person, as it were. My name is Thomas Schumacher. I'm a staff grant specialist here at the California Fire Safe Council. My portfolio of work is varied. 4 or 5 federal grant portfolios, the CalVol's LISTOS program and the PG&E program. So lots of great work to do and meeting wonderful people. So nice to meet everyone again. And is there anybody else who is not gone? Anyone on our staff who's not yet gone?
Sarah, you want to step in?
Hello, my name is Sarah Niss. I am the administrative assistant for California Fire Safe Council for both the program side and both on the grant side. So kind of an assistant for everybody. But yeah, glad to be here. Back on to you, Nina, Becca.
Sarah. Martin, do you want to introduce yourself?
No. Sorry about that. Hi, my name is Martin. I am a Climate Action Corps Fellow and a student at De Anza College in Cupertino. You know, I'm very excited to be here and very excited to be talking with all of you. I'll pass it to Rachel.
Hi everyone, my name is Rachel and I'm also a California Climate Action Corps Fellow. And I recently graduated from Humboldt State University with a degree in Environmental Science and Management. I'll pass it on to Sarah.
Hello, my name is Sarah Theus. I'm also a California Climate Corps Fellow. I also graduated from Humboldt State University with a major in Environmental Science and Management. And I'll pass it back to Nina or Becca.
Thank you everyone. As you can see, there's a lot of us here at the California Fire Safe Council to help support your organizations and help you with grant programs as well. And now we would love to hear from you about your organization and what you're working on with this Edison International Capacity Grant a little bit, and as well to hear from all of our award recipients in this grant term. So Doug, would you like to start us off?
Sure. I'm with the Oak Park Fire Safe Council. I'm the secretary of that group. We're a recently formed group, so we basically formed in December, and you know, there's another 3 folks from our organization that are on the call right now. So I'm relatively new to the you know, to the Fire Safe Council business here, but really excited to jump in with both feet. So I'll turn it over here, I guess, to JLDS.
Thank you very much, Doug. My name is JLDS. I'm the chairman from the Oak Park Fire Safe Council. Like what Doug said, we're relatively new. We organized last December, and we're very thankful for the support that you guys are giving us. I'll pass it off to Robert.
Hey, it's good to meet everybody. I'm with the Oak Park Council, again, newly formed. Looking forward to hearing what everybody has to say, looking forward to the presentation, and just here to learn. Lori?
Hang on. Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, I'm Lori Gunn. Actually, my son Sam and I were the sort of the boots on the ground, as you would say, to get this organization going. I am now a board member, and I'm so excited about all the people we have on this Oak Park Fire Safe Council. They're amazing people, and I'm very confident in doing some good things for Oak Park.
Thank you.
Mary Ann?
Mary Ann Johnson, and a member of the Oak Park Fire Safe Council. And I am also excited about where we're going with it and how it will be helpful to our community. And I look forward to learning from today.
Thank you. Garrett Clancy, would you like to go ahead?
Hi, yeah, Garrett Clancy. I'm on the Bell Canyon Fire Safe Council, neighbors to Oak Park. I'm sure we formed for some of the very same reasons. I'm filling in for Greg McHugh, who is our president, and I also serve as the fire chief for the Bell Canyon Volunteer Wildland Fire Department.
Thank you. Let's see here. William, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. I assume you can hear me. My speaker, you can hear me. Okay, good.
Yes.
I'm William Ramsire. I'm the administrator for the Meadows Fire Safe Council. And while we're not a new organization, we are expanding our area of, I don't know what you call it, expertise, work into an area where the Fire Safe Council was unable to continue. And we need, we're very interested in moving into the 21st century after a couple of years to develop our electronic outreach a little better. We never had a website, so we need some updating on things, and that's why we're here to get as much information as we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Kristen from Rolling Hills, are you on the call?
Kristen. They're asking for you to introduce yourself.
Sorry, hi. Oh, no worries. Thank you.
I'm Kristen Rigg. I'm the Homeowners Association Manager for the City of Rolling Hills. And we do a lot of the public works type things for the community.
Thank you. Okay. So we'll go ahead now. Thank you everyone for introducing yourselves and your projects. We love to hear from you and what and all the work your organizations are doing. We'll go ahead and get started now with our presentations. And up first, Becca and I will be presenting on grant programs as well as important closeout dates and documents for your current Edison International Capacity Grant.
Thank you so much, Nina. Of course, I was trying to quickly get everything set up as I had it set up, and now it's not. So hold on one moment. I'm getting my screen open. For folks, just a quick housekeeping request. Since we are recording this meeting, and I will share my screen in just a moment, if you are not presenting, can I have you please go ahead and turn your camera off for now, just while we're having our presenters go. Just one of those, if we send you the recording, I don't need to get a bunch of faces on it of actually being able to see the PowerPoint. So we will be bouncing back and forth. Obviously, when we're no longer presenting, feel free to turn them back on. So let me go ahead and share my screen. See, can you see that? Awesome. All right. Again, welcome. I know that in our calls with all of you, as Nina and I have checked in, we've talked about who CFFC is, but we've had a few questions come up through our check-in meetings. And so we wanted to take this time to say, hey, let's do a little bit more of a formal introduction. I know that y'all came on so fast and we were like, hey, you have 2 months and then get all this done in 2 months. And so in those check-in calls, we did end up getting a few questions of like, wait, let me understand who you are a little bit more. So we wanted to get that information to you. So we are a nonprofit organization. So we are a 501c3, and we have primarily acted as a grants clearinghouse. However, as you can see, we are much more than that today, as we have our communications department and now our capacity and outreach department, which is very exciting. But were created by the California Alliance and the California Fire Safe Council prior to establishing it as a nonprofit. We were a group that still existed. We also have provided over 900 grants that have totaled in over $100 million to organizations and agencies that have been located throughout California since 2014. So that's just recently. But our funding sources have traditionally been federal, so it's been a lot of U.S. Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management, National Park Service, Fish and Wildlife Services, State Farm, and CAL FIRE. So as I said before, previous to now, in 2020, when we expanded our organization, we were a clearinghouse, and this came about because there was a lot of federal funding that became available from the National Fire Plan and Healthy Forest Restoration Act. And for California, we needed a way to really get those funds to the communities that were most at need. And so the California Fire Safe Council has acted as a pass-through entity and has worked with the Forest Service and those federal grant agencies to get funding to communities throughout California. So just wanted to give you that quick background. Obviously, we have other funding sources such as private grants and state grants that are going on. Here are some of our current grants that we have. And as you all probably know, you fall under the Edison International Grant or SCE for the Southern California Edison area. But I did want to make sure that you know that we do have other grants available and other types of grants available just in case this is something that you're interested in either talking to myself or Nina about in the future if you're looking for funding opportunities. So what types of projects do we normally fund? There are a few. So a lot of our projects fall under these 4 categories, but there's actually a 5th as well. So projects, I know we weren't able to get it into this grant, but we do have projects that can fund field reduction or chipping projects, as well as we have projects that are education and outreach focused or capacity building, like a lot of you are here today for as well. And the 5th project that isn't on here is we also have some planning grants as well. So maybe you're not ready to do that fields reduction or chipping or really get into that education and outreach, but you know that's something that you want to do and you have a plan on how you want to get there. We do have opportunities for those funding opportunities as well, and would definitely be happy to discuss those with you all if you are interested. So if you want to know about upcoming grants that we're going to have, I know we've talked about this in our call, but really just want to emphasize, please check our website. There is that grants and funding page. This is where we will have our most up-to-date information on grants that are available, as well as upcoming grants. So I can tell you one that's going to be there this week will be the 22 SFA. We're getting just that general information that we're wanting to get out there to folks. But if you want to know even faster and you don't want to have to navigate to our website to check, absolutely join our mailing list. We do send out newsletters and upcoming information and grant opportunities. So if that's something that you're interested in getting emails about and notifications, I would definitely recommend going to our website and signing up for our newsletter so you can get that information sent directly to you. If you want to apply specifically for a CFFC grant, we do have a few ways that you can do this. So on a few slides, I showed you that website of grants and funding opportunities. If you go there and the application is live, there will be a spot that you can select that application and go to your Zoom Grants account. But all of your applications will live in your Zoom Grants account. And so that's how you will both manage and submit applications for CFFC. So right now, for all of you, since if this is your first time being a CFFC grantee, then it would be the only grant that you have in there. But if you were to apply for other grants, you have all of your applications available within your Zoom Grants account. So that's going to be your main hub for applying and managing for CFFC specific grants.
Okay, thanks, Becca. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you are totally fine. And I don't know if we want to pause real quick. I did see that Hetty was able to join. So I didn't know if we wanted to pause real quick if Hetty wanted to jump on and say hi. But I will I'll give her a moment. Hi, Hetty.
Hi, thank you. Great to be here.
Absolutely. I saw your name come in and I was like, oh, hold on. When I'm done talking, I'll transfer over to her. So we've just gotten started. But if you wanted to give a quick intro and then we can head back over to Nina.
Yeah, just want to say hello and thank you so much for the kind introduction, Becca. I'm the executive director of the California Fire Safety Council. Been here almost a year, almost celebrating my 1 year anniversary, and thrilled to be able to work together with you all and continue to help with all of your needs and help build in your success together. So really excited about this call and moving forward. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you, Hetty. So with that, Nina, I will give it back to you. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, Hetty. Thank you for joining us. Okay, thank you, Becca. Okay, so here on this slide, we have some key dates and important reminders regarding the closeout of your Edison International Capacity Grant Program. All of your award funds need to be spent by the end of the grant term, which is January 28th, 2022. And the final impact report and your final expended budget are due, are two required items you need to complete by February 1st, 2022 by 5 p.m. to successfully close out your grant. Next slide, please. Okay, so as mentioned, there are two parts necessary to successfully close out the grant term. These two items are located in your Zoom Grants account. You will report your final expended budget under the final budget tab shown here in that top arrow in this Zoom Grants screenshot. And then by navigating to the final impact report tab shown in the bottom green arrow, this will take you to the form where you will submit your final impact report and any required documents. Required documents for this grant term are any photos or original education materials taken and created during the grant project. Next slide, please. Okay, and then in your final impact report, there are two external surveys included. And then in this screenshot here, you'll see which questions those fall under. And so specifically for question 14, you will answer no, as fuels reduction projects were not permittable under this grant program. And therefore you will not need to submit an entry for the project boundaries survey. So you can go ahead and not worry about that one. However, you are required to submit one response to the California Fire Safe Council Success Story Survey. In this survey, you will discuss how the grant program award funds helped build capacity for your organization and any relevant stories related to successful outcomes of your grant project. If you need any assistance with this final impact report or submitting the success story survey, please contact me. I'm here. I'm happy to help. I'm also happy to set up a time and walk through the survey or the final impact report together for any questions you might have. And again, this survey and impact report are both due on February 1st. Next slide, please. Okay. And again, I just really want to say thank you. I know it's been a quick couple months, but just thank you so much for all your hard work and dedication during this grant program. It has been a pleasure working with all of you, and I'm here to assist you with any of the grant closeout documents. And again, as Becca mentioned, please feel free to contact Becca or me with any grant-related questions or any interest in upcoming grant opportunities. We'll take any questions now, and then we'll also have some time at the end of all the presentations.
I have a question. This is JLDS.
Hi, JL.
Hi. If there's money left on the fund, do we return that to you as well?
Becca.
That's a great question. My gut's going to say yes, but let's follow up because I'm sure we can find a way to spend that money. Let's loop back after this, JL, and we can touch base on how to proceed for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. Thank you.
The success story is just something we put together in a Word document and upload to your website.
It's going to be an external survey, similar to the needs assessment survey we went over earlier through that Survey 123 platform, where there'll be an opportunity for you to put the location of your success story, any attached media to it, as well as a space where you're more than welcome to put it in a Word document and keep that for your records, and then you can just copy and paste that into this survey and go ahead and submit that.
Got it. Okay, thanks, Nina.
And I can show you too. Let me jump back to our slides real quick, Doug, so you can kind of see exactly where to navigate to that survey. If it wants me to share my screen, I clicked it 3 times. Okay, so once you're in your Zoom Grants account, as Nina was saying, there's that tab that is that final impact report. And then as she was talking about these 2 questions, you'll get the success story link for that external survey in that report through your Zoom Grants. So that's where you'll find that format.
Got it. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
As I said, well, if any questions do come up, we will be having a longer Q&A session after all the teams and presentations have concluded. So you're more than welcome to save any questions, or if any do arise, to ask at the end. I will go ahead and introduce Brittany Munoz, who's our Southern California Regional Coordinator, and she will be talking about her support and assistance with Fire Safe Councils.
Hi, everyone. Great to be here. I appreciate the opportunity to introduce myself and see and be able to see a face, to face with the Fire Safe Council. So it's always nice putting that together instead of just reading through project ideas. It's very lovely. So I'm here to dive in a little bit deeper and offer you the opportunity to tell you what Fire Safe Council's regional coordinators are available for. If I can go to the next slide, please. Okay, so the regional coordinators are new to the California Fire Safe Councils. There's 3 of them. In Northern California, we have Mike Wilson, who you met earlier. In Northern California, we have Brooke McAllister. In Central California, and me as your Southern California coordinator. The support role we have here, I just kind of want to break it down. This is not limited to, but kind of an overall umbrella of what we do is community support. We can offer workshops, education, help you with your community outreach. I'm here to support you with your community wildfire protection plans, developing those, or just starting ideas to contribute to going to build those. Agency coordination, if you're having trouble communicating with any of your fire reps or agency partners in your community utility groups, let me know and I'll see what I can do to support you there. And obviously we're here to help in the development and establishment of new fire safe councils. I just want to bring your attention to the map on the right. This is our boundaries of the northern, central, and southern regions. However, I just want to say, don't get turned off by the fact that there's boundary lines there. Like wildfire, we connect with each other throughout the state. We offer resources with each other, the 3 coordinators. We share ideas from fire safe councils from Northern California, what we're doing in Southern California, and also in the central region. There's some really great ideas in each area. With that, the next slide, please. Okay, I'd like to take this opportunity to offer you some tips for success. On the right, I have the California Fire Safe Council Handbook. And this, I just want to remind you, please go back to that. If you're working on your project ideas and you get stuck and you're like, oh wait, how do I communicate with the media? Or what does it take to reach out to agency partners? This serves as your outline for operation success. So think of your Fire Safe Council as your, let's say, your business. So this would be like your business plan. Please don't think it's too basic. Go back to it. It has great ideas in it. And I'm going to keep referring back to it. Also, please stay in touch with the California website, California Fire Safe Council website. It has everything from, like Nina and Becca pointed out, the grants to, you can sign up for our monthly newsletter. So you're ahead of when grants are coming out and you kind of foresee what projects are happening within our organization. Next, I would like to invite you, if you haven't already attended, we host a, I just saw a chat pop up, and excuse me, that just deferred my attention. Becca, I don't know if you can kind of hover over those links and maybe the link will pop up, but we can also share those in the chat like Nina just did. Okay, so back to the regional monthly meetings. That's where all the fire safe councils in Southern California are invited to come together and share this platform of projects you're doing, establishing fire safe councils, areas of project work. We do invite presenters to come and talk about, I just lost my words there. I apologize. Talk about current events or what could help you, like mapping or grant project work, anything like that. With that being said, I want to also invite you to communicate with existing fire safe councils. They're there for a reason. They've been through things that maybe you have gone through, maybe you haven't. You can share experiences, share your project ideas, and say that you hear a project that they're working on and you're like, wow, that's very close to my area. Maybe we can collaborate on that. That's what they're there for. So with that, I'm going to go to the next slide. I also encourage you to gain impactful partnerships. If you are looking to gain your volunteer group, add more people to your fire safe council, participate in community events, reach out to your local library, see if they have a library night reading and you can go and pass out your event flyers. They also, like real estate agents, I believe we have an HOA on the call with us. They host events in the communities. Ask if you can be a part of that. And then it really shows your face into the community and groups you may not be able to access previously. Partner with your local fire jurisdictions. Who's ever in your area, if you have not reached out to your local fire jurisdiction, whether it's BLM or Fish and Wildlife or Cal Fire, County Fire, please do so. Make sure that your projects are in alignment with what they have going on with theirs. I'm not saying you have to follow everything they do, but it's great to see you guys coordinate and collaborate on projects, because you could take it from a backyard neighborhood cleanup to a county-wide cleanup, something along those lines. RCDs are also great to touch base with. If you have one in your area, they can help with sustainable grants, and they can also help with workshops. The local fire jurisdictions can also provide workshops in your communities. And leading by experience, I can tell you that people love to learn. They love to get involved. They love to hear about how they can evacuate. They love to hear about how they can keep their homes safe. Utility companies have their drive-through safety fairs. I'm going to show a few slides beyond this slide of just examples of projects I helped collaborate on with local fire safe councils, and they were hugely successful. Some of the drive-through safety fairs, we had 1,000 people waiting in line just to receive brochures and information. And this was at the height of COVID because we could not do in-person meetings. So this is how we kept the fire safe councils going. Master gardeners or plant societies in your area, they know so much about the plant types and what can grow where and what region, excuse me, region in my brain, what defensible space zone in their yard that they should plant these things. They will also come out and give presentations, another way to access people. And don't forget about county animal services, because people remember to evacuate themselves and do forget about their animals. They host events all the time. It's a great partnership. With that, can I go with the next slide? Here's a project I helped the Fire Safe Council work on. There was many partners involved, utility companies, local fire stations, and they came up with an idea to show what plants will go in each zone. They created a community garden to show that this was an effective way to plant and keep your home defended from wildfire. Okay, next slide. Here's some pictures of the drive-through safety fair. This was one of them. I believe there was 27 we held in 1 year. As you can see, you have a lot of partnerships there. You have CAL FIRE, you have BLM, you have County Animal Services, you have SDG&E. Great way if you can get involved in that. It's a huge, huge way to get your face out into the community and your fire safe council into the community. Next slide. And finally, like I'm showing you these examples as project ideas. Maybe you hear something that rings true later as you're working on your projects and you're like, oh, that might be a great idea stepping forward. So this was the brochure that was worked on through the county fire and the fire safe councils. And they put together a brochure that had defensible space for people to educate themselves on. They had a list of their emergency contacts and see what to happen if they see fire or smoke. They worked off something called the PACE plan, which is primary, alternate, contingency, emergency. And it talked about how and when like you need to evacuate. Can I go to the next slide? So here this was not a standalone project. So I just want to warn you on this, that this is a very ambitious project, but it is a step to your CWPP. So working through these projects, this is all building to a CWPP if you choose to take that route, which would be very beneficial to your fire safe council. But you can see here they have the evacuation plan. They talk about the routes. This was approved through the fire chief, and they also use the app alerts too, so that people could register for that. Very, very helpful piece of information, and this caught on like wildfire, pun intended. So there are some, levels of projects to work with in your grants. I know that reading through your applications, a lot of people talked about evacuation planning and just even starting projects. So I'm here to help you. Next slide, please. And support you through your projects every step of the way. And contact me for resources. Contact me for informational materials. We have that on the website. Please always check in. I'll be checking in with you to see how your grants are going. So again, thank you for your time. I'm Brittany. My email's up here. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to the Northern California rep, Brooke McAllister, or excuse me, the Central California Regional Coordinator, Brooke McAllister. Keep my words untied today.
Hello. Thank you so much, Brittany. Really good information for you to think about when you're developing your projects. So along with being the Central California Regional Coordinator, I am also the site supervisor for our new cohort of AmeriCorps Climate Action Corps Fellows. And at California Fire Safe Council, we try to encourage collaboration and partnership and volunteerism. So I would like to introduce to you our this term's Climate Action Corps Fellows. And so they can share a little bit about their themselves and their experience with volunteerism. And so I've got up first, Martin Esbrook. Martin, would you like to share about yourself there? Oh, did we lose Martin? There he is.
No, I'm here. Hi, my name is Martin Esbrook. I am a student at De Anza College, and I am a member of California's Climate Action Corps. I was introduced to the organization by a volunteer match after asking a counselor what opportunities there were for volunteering. Volunteer Match is a website that is dedicated to matching those who want to serve their communities and organizations and those who need them. Then I applied via the California Volunteers website, which is another good resource for pairing organizations and volunteers in California, which paired me with the CFSC in November of this year. It's been an awesome learning experience, learning about how nonprofits work and raising awareness for serious issues. One of the things I learned is that over 2 million acres of land were burned last year, and in 2020, it was over 4 million acres of homes, communities, and forests. This is why I feel like working with the CFSC is so important. It's been a very positive experience, and getting the mentorship and guidance from my peers and supervisors has taught me valuable lessons about making a difference and how to do so. Volunteers and volunteering can make a huge impact for those involved, and I implore our grantees to keep this in mind when planning to raise awareness and help the communities. So you don't have to do it alone. Thank you. All right, and I'll pass it to Rachel.
Hi, everyone. To me, volunteerism to me is all about helping out my local community. Volunteering is part of the backbone of many nonprofits. I enjoy volunteering because it gives me a sense of purpose, and through AmeriCorps in partnership with the California Fire Safe Council, I get to connect with experts in their field through trainings and weekly staff meetings, building our communities to become more resilient to wildfire and educating people about the complex relationship to fire just really excites me and makes me passionate about this work and made me want to join with the California Fire Safe Council. My advice for when looking to obtain volunteers is finding ways to support your volunteers by providing them with a community. People love barbecues or movie nights, etc. Any ways to really connect. Even like a Zoom dinner can be fun. You can like get to know people on a more personal level. And looking for people who need volunteer hours, have passion for this work and or are retired and have time to be able to volunteer. Connecting with local schools can be a great resource since school-age children sometimes need community service hours. Colleges often have clubs or even require internships for graduation. Personally, I found out about my internships with Orange County Coastkeeper and Humboldt State's Natural History Museum through my school's guidance counselor. I was able to receive school credit and a stipend. I also volunteered with HSU's Natural Resources Club, which worked with many nonprofits in the area to help pull invasive species off their properties. Different colleges have different clubs, and some are even just related to fire. So you can find people who are really interested in specific areas, and you can help connect them to gain experience through your California Fire Safe Council. Churches often also support volunteering, and at my previous job, we even were able to connect people who are looking to do community service hours for traffic offenses. And so they were able to help us out with our social media, which is a great way to also get more volunteers. Senior recreation centers can be great places to advertise volunteering opportunities to retired people. My mom and her friends love doing little volunteer activities, and it helps them find ways to connect to more people. Posting internships on Indeed is also another way to lead to new recruitment, and creating a Facebook or Instagram to post volunteers events is a great idea. You never know who you'll find who's just looking for ways to volunteer in their community. During COVID, it's important to think outside of the box, having volunteers help with website design or creating virtual events. My entire internship with the Natural History Museum was creating and teaching an online curriculum to school students, and they were able to watch through their virtual field trips. And also when you have online volunteers, you can get more that might not be in your direct area. But overall, my time spent volunteering has given me more friendships and work experience and just great memories. So I don't regret any of it, and it's all been a great experience. And I'll pass it on to Sarah.
Thank you, Rachel. So hi, I'm Sarah. Since early 2020, I started to volunteer with California State Parks. I've helped them in invasive species removal in both Humboldt County and Del Norte County, so up here in Northern California. Through my volunteer work, I've learned more about the native and invasive species in my area and the different ways that land can be managed. I first heard about volunteering with state parks through my school. With my major, we would get sent emails about local or statewide agencies for jobs, volunteer work, or internship opportunities. And this opened the door for me to become a long-term volunteer with them and meet people in different groups and agencies around Humboldt and Del Norte County. I grew up in Southern California, and I've now lived in Northern California for 3 years, and I've lived near numerous fires and have seen the devastating effects of them. And I found California Fire Safe Council through becoming a fellow with California Climate Action Corps, and I chose to work with the CFSC to learn more about wildfires and what we can do to help communities better prepare for the next big one. With climate change and some of the mismanagement of our wildlands, fires are going to continue in quantity and severity unless we work together. I think one way to get more volunteers for different fire safe councils is to connect with local schools, whether this is high schools, community colleges, and or universities. Since many schools require or encourage volunteerism, getting your name out there could help increase people wanting to volunteer, and showcasing some of the work done previously or potential future projects could help bring interest into your groups. Thank you, and I'll pass it back to Brooke.
Thank you so much. So those are our wonderful, new, amazing Climate Corps Action Fellows, and we hope to see some of you in the field and get some projects going. And with that, I will hand it over to Mike Wilson, our Northern California coordinator.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you for being here today. I know we're throwing a lot of information and material at you, and it's probably a bit overwhelming. And if you can imagine, it probably happens to everybody who gets in a new Fire Safe Council role of being a board member or a secretary or executive director for that Fire Safe Council. So one of the things I'm going to talk about today is just basically building some tools for your toolkit. And what that means, in fact, we have a volunteer firefighter as one of the folks who are here as attendees today. You've heard the scenario of recruitment and retention. Well, in the fire service, that's really important, especially when you're finding volunteers. And it works the same for California Fire Safe Council and smaller fire safe councils. Finding folks to be there to assist you and to help carry the lift. So the more people who do the lift, the easier the lift is, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about working smarter and not harder. And living in Northern California, that's one of the things I like the best, because I enjoy having a variety of resources to draw from to get the job done. And that means I don't have to do it all myself or rely on any other individual to do it by themselves. So again, building that network and those resources to do the job the best that we can. Next slide, please. It's human nature to be reluctant to call somebody and ask for help. If you can imagine, we all sit here and think, oh my gosh, if I call this person and ask them to help me do this, they're going to be not wanting to take my call, or they're not going to want to hear from me anymore. It's not really true. It's human nature for us not to want to ask for help, but it's human nature to want to be helpful. So as a resource, when you're out there, don't be afraid to reach out to your different networks and folks out there that can help you build a bigger network and to build more resources and add more tools to that toolbox. Next slide, please. Somebody already did all the work, and most of us are excited to share and to take advantage of the work that's been done. It's really interesting that when you go out there and you think, oh my gosh, I have to write a CWPP, or I have to write a new set of bylaws for my fire safe council, or whatever that happens to be. Well, in the world of fire safe councils, what we find out is plagiarism is not a bad word. In fact, it's actually a welcome word when it comes to asking those folks who have already done the work to share that work with you so that you can make your work a lot easier. Again, part of that is knowing that network and building on that network. Building a large group of volunteers to assist in doing the lift and getting the job done. And as you do that, there's a few resources out there you may or may not be aware of. So I'd like to share those with you. Next slide, please. Your municipal fire departments, your volunteer fire departments, your CAL FIRE unit in your area, or the U.S. Forest Service Local Ranger District in your area, or BLM, or whatever entity that happens to be there. Oftentimes they have folks that are assigned specifically just to do outreach and education. And those people are a great resource to have, because they have already established a list of those partners and those resources that are out there. In fact, sometimes they even keep a list of people who are interested in volunteering and doing work for special projects or to help with entities to do things. So like developing a CWPP or writing your bylaws for your fire safe council or whatever it happens to be. So again, these are some of those networks that are out there. How do you get a hold of those networks? Next slide, please. So one of the advantages of being in my past career as a former fire chief, I was very excited to be part of an organization called the California Fire Chiefs Association. Each area in California has basically a district person who's assigned as an area director. And this is an example of the map from the California Fire Safe Council, and you can see their website up there, or Cal Chiefs Association, their website up there of calchiefs.org. Each of the area directors maintain a list of the different fire departments in their areas. Oftentimes those are volunteer departments. And when I was a former director of Area 1 North Division, I actually had a list of well over 200 different volunteer fire departments in the far north that were part of the organization and that were great resources. So oftentimes it would be as simple as picking up a phone, looking at the phone list that I had of the 200 or so departments, and reaching out to the department and asking for information or help, or to see if maybe they've already done a project or purchased equipment or whatever that happens to be, and reaching out to the contact for that agency. Sometimes those contacts change, as you can imagine, but oftentimes you can be directed to the right point of contact. And that's just one of the potential areas that you could reach out to here that's available online and through that website. Next slide, please. Other area or other opportunities are reaching out to your local CAL FIRE unit. Your CAL FIRE units, again, have folks that are assigned in the Prevention Bureau to work on the outreach and public education parts of the organization. And those CAL FIRE units also maintain lists of contacts with local folks who are interested or who are great resources in your area. Again, not recreating the wheel, just reaching out to those resources that have already been established. Contact your local CAL FIRE unit and ask if you can talk to their education and outreach folks and see if they'll be willing to share some of the contacts they have. Or again, lists of volunteers who are interested in working and helping you basically get the folks put together and connected that you need. Next slide, please. Again, another example or another opportunity is your local forest and your Forest Service Ranger District. If you're in a national forest and you have a U.S. Forest Service Ranger District there, each Ranger District, again, has an outreach and education program person, and those folks are another valuable resource, as you'll notice at the top of the slide. Again, another great website for finding that bit of information. Next slide, please. Lastly is your own local jurisdiction and other network of folks in your community that maybe aren't fire related. And those can be NGO or non-government partners. Chamber of Commerce, your local service organizations like the Lions or the Elks or whoever happens to be in your community, other community groups, sometimes schools, sometimes churches. As Brittany had mentioned and some of our fellows had mentioned, oftentimes folks are out there looking for the opportunity to be volunteers or to help carry the load. And it's great to reach out and grab those tools for your toolbox to make your job easier so you can spend a little more time enjoying your own community like I do. I enjoy sitting in my beautiful mountain home looking under the shadow of a big giant volcano, but looking at the trees, enjoying the birds, enjoying the snow, and just enjoying myself in the outdoors. So again, use the resources that are out there and make sure that you are not afraid. You know, don't be afraid of that human nature thing that says don't reach out and call, because somebody out there is waiting for you to call. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Nina. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. We'll take a couple minutes here if anyone has questions for our regional coordinators or our fellows. We also have time at the end. If I know that was a lot of information, if you yourself need a few minutes to take in that information, we also are having questions at the end of our presentations today.
Nina, I'm assuming you're going to send out or make available these presentations?
Yes. This workshop is being recorded, so we can send this recording out as well, and we can also share the presentations.
Okay.
And the links associated.
Great.
Okay, well, thank you.
We'll give you all of it.
Yeah, thanks, Becca. Thank you to our regional coordinators and our fellows for sharing some great information, especially about volunteerism. I know that was a need that was expressed in our original needs assessment survey. And now I will pass it off to Laura, who will be presenting on a lot of really great things that were talked about in the needs assessment survey for our communications department. So Laura, I will go ahead and pass the virtual mic to you.
Thank you, Nina. And again, welcome everybody. I do appreciate everybody's time and commitment. I believe I am sharing my own screen. So let me go ahead and do that. Does everybody see my presentation? Thumbs up, Nina. Excellent. Okay.
Yes, we got it.
Excellent. So I wanted to kind of set the stage here and talk about for people that are volunteers, for people that are in this work, that are in this space, community organizers, wildfire mitigation, prevention space, is it can get difficult. It's a difficult topic. It brings up a lot of PTSD in folks. It's difficult work to be prepared when you think about defensible space and home hardening. And then it's just hard to get a group of people together. You think about planning a party or anything, you know, and how hard it is to get schedules together. So when I think about all of you out in your community doing this good work, I really do appreciate you and know that it can get difficult and you can feel that you're a little alone out there. I can assure you, you are not alone. You have all of us, but you also have your community. So I really encourage folks to think about what is your why, right? So your why in the work that you're doing. And that'll just help keep you motivated, keep you on track, help you in those days where you feel like you're the only one out there doing it. And just to keep you inspired and moving along. So I'm a big believer in finding your why and letting that help kind of propel you through your work. So really quick little background. I actually got my start in communications as a documentary filmmaker and realized that I love telling stories. I then began to work in short form videos, marketing, branding, telling brand stories, telling organization stories. I worked in the fire space for a little while and got to really get experience on the ground with fire, with firefighters, with prevention, mitigation, the WUI, all of that. So I've kind of put all of that into this package where now I get to help folks like you tell your story and amplify and promote the work that you're doing to create wildfire safe communities. So that's just a really quick background. All right, so next slide. So when I think about communications and outreach, for me, it's also really important to think about the equity in it and the difference between equality and equity. I did a little bit of looking at each of your organization's areas. And I think you have some very specific audiences and demographics. But there are also folks in your area that maybe don't own a house. Maybe they're there in a work capacity or support capacity. So when you think about outreach and communications to your communities in your area, and of course my phone is ringing, sorry about that. I encourage you to think about the difference between equality and equity and just making sure that everybody in your community, whether it's a homeowner, a renter, maybe support service, staff, is part of your broader and bigger communications and outreach plan. So as you can see from this slide, it's all interrelated. So a lot of what your RCs have talked about, what the fellows have talked about, what Nina and Becca have talked about, what I'm going to talk about, it's all kind of in here. You've got your strategy, which leads to all these other pieces. Some more important than others, some you might be better at, some are going to be more important for your organization or your location. But this is a really great way to show that all of this is connected. So you've got to start with a really good foundation. And when you think about that foundation, I want you to rethink about ROI. And for those of you not familiar with kind of business, ROI traditionally is return on investment. So how much you put in relates to how much you get out and what is that return on investment. I want you to think about that when you think about your planning and your outreach and your communications, but I also want you to think about what we're calling ripple of impact. So it's an ROI, ripple of impact. So from that thing, that piece of work that you do, maybe it's defensible space, maybe it's home hardening, maybe it's a chipper program on your block, That then has ripple effects out into the community, out into advocacy groups, educational groups, professionals, legislators, which then obviously comes right back around to you. So again, when you're thinking about these plans, think about not just kind of the financial ROI, but the community ROI and how that is going to, create that butterfly effect, that ripples of impact. This is no way a final list and all the people that you can reach, but that should give you a good idea of kind of what the point I'm trying to make. So your foundation is critical to being successful, creating a long-term impactful strategy and plan for wildfire prevention, mitigation, education, and awareness. I think it's really, I know that it's really critical to build your community before a crisis. We've all seen, and a few of us on here, and many of you may have gone through a crisis. I've been through an earthquake and a couple hurricanes, where on the backside of that crisis, you really realize the community comes together. We're not, what flag are you flying? Who are you voting for? What language you're speaking? After a crisis, you see people come together and really take care of each other. I want you to create that before the crisis. And hopefully the crisis never comes, knock on wood, but look at building your community before a crisis. Response, recovery, and resiliency starts with preparedness. So how do you get your community prepared? And again, you're creating that ripples of impact, or your ROI. So for some of you, I know that you're a few steps ahead, so I'll go through these really quickly. One of the ways that I really like to look at an organization to kind of build that foundation and then to think about how to move forward is to do a SWOT analysis. And so a SWOT analysis is kind of a typical businessy, marketing, branding, organization-wide process to do exactly these four things, sorry. Strengths, so the S, what do you do well? Your weaknesses, the W, the O, the opportunities, and threats, the T. So you just, you can draw, I like to do crosshatch across, and then, you put your S, your O, and just start writing things out, start thinking about those things. And that will really help you. If you haven't created your plan or strategy, that'll help you with that. If you do have a website and a logo, but you want to, move on into social media, or you have social media and you want to move on to TikTok, or you want to start telling videos, taking photographs, you can actually do a SWOT analysis for each of those items, each of those ideas. You want to get into video. What is your SWOT analysis for doing video? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? And that'll really, really help you narrow down where you need to put your efforts, and maybe where you can, kind of take some of the energy and resources from here and put it over here. So really great, simple way to get your mind moving, get you thinking about kind of the whole of the process, the whole of the organization, and then how to build that into your plan and strategy. So everybody has to have a logo. We have to be branded. We got to brand ourselves, right? You got to have that brand, those colors, that imagery that as soon as people see it, they say, it's the Bell Canyon Fire Safe Council. It's the Rolling Hills Community Association. So really quickly, logos obviously give your brand identity, name recognition. You need to have your logo in a couple different formats. You need to make sure they're easily shared, which could go on a website. These are 4 of our logos that you can see have different treatments. Some are vertical, some are horizontal. You don't need all of this. I know that a lot of you are, working with a lot smaller set of resources. Something to think about though. And of course, black and white. And I think the most important part for your logo, once you have it, is just to make sure that you have it in all the right sizes for all the right places. And that's some information that we can give you afterwards where, you know, for a Facebook logo, it's this, for a website, it's better here. So I do recommend that. And then of course, being able to share it really easily only helps you in the end. So these are some of our logos. And then here's some logos that local fire safe councils took ours, the states, and used it for their purpose. So they did a great job. Malibu Lake, I love the orange. You do have to be a little careful sometimes about colors and using them against other colors. So something to think through. Coastal Canyon, I love the way they used it and put the little owl. So this is totally something that you can do if you need a logo and you want to make it easy, quick. It has name recognition and brand identity, so it's a great option. You can also do your own original logo. Some of these are a little better than others, in my opinion. Amador Fire Safe, love it. It's a fantastic, it really says what it is right there. Fire Safe Sonoma, same color, so a little bit of the brand recognition, but just a little bit different to be unique. Oakland Fire Safe Council pretty much says everything you need it to say. And then Oak to Timberline, I don't know about the owl. I have always wanted to ask, and I'm thinking maybe that there was some story about the owl, but you can see what they did. So when we looked at yours, the Meadows, Rolling Hills, and Bell Canyon. So Bell Canyon did exactly, took our logo and kind of created it for their purpose. Beautiful. Rolling Hills Community Association. So you folks have a really great logo, and we can talk more offline. I'd be happy to talk through, if you wanted to do something with that logo, but make it a little bit more fire safe council-y, or you're going with that. But what I love about the Rolling Hills is that it's super unique. And again, it tells everything you need to know right there in the logo. So if we do something with the Fire Safe Council, we can think about fun ways to integrate the name or combine them, maybe put the triangle, I don't know. But I think there's a lot of great things that we could do there. The Meadows, great logo. Again, I think we could, add a little fire something to it. But you guys are off, great start, great logos. And then, so who are we missing? Oak Park. So Oak Park, you have a lot of variety and you can do a lot of different things. Happy to, again, have conversations offline and kind of throw some ideas around and get creative and have some fun thinking about how to make it truly a brand, a logo that tells your story. All right, so when you think about your foundation, and I know that a few of you asked about websites. So this is a big question because it's a big project. And I would start by, and I think a few other of the RCs and Becca and Nina brought this up, but you really I encourage you to look outside of your organization to partners who may want to, trade for it or, work in conjunction with another project or initiative or program. A partner would be a great place if you don't have the resource or the know-how or the time, which I know is a big thing, to create your own website. If you do have the time and the resources, and you want to, figure it all out, there are a couple easy ways. Squarespace, I highly recommend. It's what I use to produce kind of microsites. It is actually quite user-friendly. It's quite inexpensive, and it's quite easy to set up a 2 to 4 page website. Even with a store on the back end, they make it very easy for you. So if you did, again, there are folks like WePix, or there's another one of those website agent platforms. Squarespace, though, I really recommend. You can go through an agency. Unless you have a good relationship and or you're working on a special price, a website through an agency could cost you starting anywhere from $5,000 going up to $25,000 for a very simple site. So just beware of those prices going in if you go just right to an agency. But I believe that there are enough resources, self-made platforms and help that we could probably get you a website made for less than $25,000. And again, you need to think about when you're creating your website, not just creating it, designing it, and making it live. You're going to have to maintain it. So is that one person? Is that a team? Do they know how to do it? What happens if that person goes on vacation? So there's the back end to the website that I want you to think about as well. So keep that in mind. A few of you mentioned SEO, and it's a great question. SEO is search engine optimization. This would be a great reason to go with an agency because a lot of times a professional web developer will build the SEO into it automatically, which is great. I think my top line talking point to you all right now would be, don't worry so much on SEO, but get your website up, even if it's a single 1 or 2 page, simple page, and at least one social media account. From there, work with that, build that, and use all of that to amplify. And then we could go back and talk about SEO a little bit more. But really, it's about using the right keywords, putting in the metadata on the back end, making sure the tags are in your HTML and again in the back end. So again, I encourage you to not let the weight of trying to figure out and how to do SEO. Don't let that stop you from getting a website up and social media up and going. Tips and tricks. You need, when thinking about a website, again, thinking about that maintenance, you got to think about your contact. Who are they going to contact? Is that person going to get back to them? So people aren't just yelling into the void. You need to make sure you link to all your socials. A calendar is highly, highly recommendable. You need to think about what your web page is serving, right? So people in your community want to know where they can go for help and when. So a calendar is really useful. That might require a plugin and a little bit more work. So if you just have to do it in text form, bulleted forms, month by month, that works. But make that calendar, make that link of events right there on the front page, instant. They can get to it and the contact, and make sure the contact can be contacted. So again, on your website, a couple easy ways to kind of help the SEO and or just help your audience find what they need are links to other organizations that have been vetted. And obviously, CAL FIRE, your local fire department. But then there's other folks, Native Plant Society. I know that one of your groups does a lot of native plants. So maybe you want to do, like a cross share, ask the native plant folks to put your name front and center and vice versa. So a couple tips and tricks and a couple things to think about when building a website. So again, when you're building a foundation, you really want to have some talking points. And I need to do a time check. Perfect. Okay. So you want to kind of build some talking points. You want to build some language, some copy for your group to use. So you're literally on the same page. We do have some samples. And again, you are going to get all the links and all the information at the end of this. But you want to think about what you're talking about as a group and make sure you're all using that same language for a couple different reasons. People are going to trust you. people are going to come to think of you as the information know-it-all. So you are who they're going to come to. You want to increase and you want to encourage that interaction. So if you have the knowledge and you all are talking that same language, people are going to say they really have their act together. Let's go talk to them. So something to think about when you put all your websites together, your socials together. You can also take out of these talking points that foundation language that you're using to talk about your organization as social media clips you could send, your mission statement out as a tweet. It's a great place to go back and grab content. To Mike Wilson's point, work smarter, not harder. Create this foundation, create this content, create copy that everybody can use moving forward. And that way you have a really clear, coordinated voice. When you think about talking points, 2 tips, 2 ideas. People love either how to, so do you know how to prevent embercast? I don't know if you can prevent embercast. I kind of pulled that one out, but, or people love, 3 easy ways to find out if the wind is coming in your direction for a wildfire. People love those simple step-by-step content. So when you think about creating talking points and creating that foundation language, keep a couple of those in mind. So for an organization, you could be specific. So for Oak Park Fire Safe Council, 3 easy steps to be more engaged with the Fire Safe Council. 1, 2, 3. And it's a great talking point. It's a great social. It's great for your organization to talk to at meetings. Again, create the content once and use it multiple places. Work smarter, not harder. All right, so web, digital, and social platforms. So the fun stuff, right? Social media, it's exciting, everybody's there. Social media is hard. Don't think that it's, people make it look easy. You really have to dedicate yourself to social media. I literally have Twitter going in the background on a special format that shows me all, a bunch of different threads through the day. LinkedIn, Facebook, Pinterest. Now they want to add TikTok into it, and everybody wants to be on TikTok, and it's hard. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. So my advice is to pick 1 or 2, depending on your resources, and go all in. Okay, and don't forget about Nextdoor. And another one is don't forget about WhatsApp. So back to the beginning, when I talk about equality and equity, there are a lot of demographics in California that rely on WhatsApp to communicate. So maybe there's a way to add that into your strategy, into your plan. LinkedIn is an incredible platform when you want to talk to fire officials, Cal OES officials, Cal Fire folks, Cal chiefs, webinars, California Natural Resources Agency. For the professional fire space folks, I really recommend LinkedIn, and it's a really great ROI. It's free. You don't have to pay to advertise or post. There's a lot of great interaction that you're going to get on LinkedIn for very little investment. So, and then of course, remember there's YouTube. So again, if you want to pick Facebook, go all in on Facebook. Pick Twitter, pick 1 or 2, but don't think that you have to do all of these and be present in all of them. It'll get disjointed. It'll be a really long day. So I think when we think about TikTok and we think about other platforms, a lot, I was asked the other day, what if we got an influencer and everybody has influencers. Let's get an influencer. And my mind, directly went to Paris Hilton thinking, yeah, I don't think you want Paris Hilton being your influencer, but there are a lot of other people, obviously, and a lot of other ideas that we can talk about when we think about influencers, an ambassador, or a spokesperson. I'm not saying that you need any of this, but when you look at your audience, when you look at who you're talking to, is there somebody in your community that is the face of either the community or the face of some prevention? Oak Park and Bell Canyon, you guys are right near Agora Hills, Calabasas. Maybe there's a celebrity up there that would be willing to be on camera to talk about how their house was saved or not, if it wasn't, and why we need the prevention and mitigation. So influencer, ambassador, and spokesperson, if it works for your audience and it creates positive engagement and it amplifies your message, it's a great idea. If you're doing it just to do it, don't bother, really. So again, think about your audience and think about that ripple of impact. So another piece of the bigger kind of media, advertising, communications, and outreach that you folks mentioned in your gap assessment was advertising and media buys. So this is for the folks on the call today. I think if you focused on Facebook, your website, well, and I would say Facebook or another social medium, and your website, and just really getting out in the community, that's a great start. When we look farther, when we look, into the future, there are definitely some times where doing some traditional advertising and or a media buy would be really valuable. If you've got a really big chipper day and you really need the whole community to come together because you've rented a chipper and they're only going to be there one day, then yeah, that's a really great idea. Is let's get a radio campaign, let's get a TV campaign, let's do a social campaign. And on the right side of the slide here, Spectrum TV, Effective TV, iHeartMedia, Comcast, you can go through an agency and then you can go directly to your local stations. They all will sell you gladly some airtime. They can do TV. Most of these folks can do TV, radio, and digital buys. So, depending on your budget, depending on the grant, depending on the deliverables, depending on how much you can spend, you could really just blanket your community with everything. I will recommend radio. I think drive time radio doesn't get enough attention. It's a great, effective way to reach a majority of your population. All right. And then remember, Nextdoor, it's easy to put content on Nextdoor. Don't get dragged into the fights in the back end of Nextdoor. And then Facebook is another great way where you can just go in and do a Facebook boosted post. And this is another really good return on investment. For $20, $50, $100 at the most on Facebook, you could boost a post. You can get very specific on who you're reaching, demographics, what age group, what they do for work, what they do for fun, what kind of car they drive. It gets scary deep how you can target it. But for, like I said, less than $100, if you create a Facebook campaign and boost your post, it's going to go a long way. And with all advertising and media buys, you do need the time. Are you advertising for 6 months, 6 days, 6 weeks? You need to think about your budget. Again, if you go with anybody on the left-hand side, the other left, the right-hand side, it's a nice, healthy number that's going to come your way. So just beware. And then make sure you're ready to go with photos and videos, your logo, and a press release. Those are the things that that if you need to produce any kind of content for a media buy, they're going to ask you. So photos, videos, and press release, and a logo. All right, time check. All right. Crisis communications. I'm just going to run through this really quickly. It's a really good time to be aware and to be in front of your computer and to be pushing out content. Red flag days, have your phone trees, create push notifications. So again, because of the business we're all in, you really need to think about when you're creating your social and your staff that you do need to be on call and ready to be present during a crisis. We talked about it starts with a press release, pretty easy, what, where, when, why, who, one page, simple, but it has all the information that press, media, or anybody else is going to need that they can use to promote you. We had a slide like this earlier. I think Mike Wilson had it, but this is another great reminder of who you can reach out to in your communities. And again, you're going to have this, so I'm going to go a little fast. Okay. Video, a few of you talked about video. So literally using the word video in your email subject line will boost your open rate. Okay. Video, huge retention versus text. Picture says 1,000 words. Video, video, video. As a previous doc maker, I can tell you that video is critical. But how are you going to do the post-production? How are you going to edit it? There's a lot of questions to it. So video, yes. How? That's another webinar. But there's also photos. This is a really great way to engage your audiences on social. Before and after pictures. You can see somebody used the sandwich board there to give it, to give you a really good clear before and after. So really important when posting photos, think about telling that story. These are some social media posts that we made. I'm going to run through these fast because I want to get to a couple critical pieces for you folks. But these are some of our more popular social media posts. So you can see, they're all different types. Some are graphics. Some are the Be Prepared was a project that we did. We made it into a social media post, some fun community pictures. So it's a variety of stuff. Makes your social interesting. And people can't wait to go back and see what you have to show. When you think about how to create social content, I like the trick know, feel, do. What do you want people to know? What do you want people to feel? And what do you want people to do? Okay, so really quick, you want people to know that it's wildfire season. You want them to feel prepared and you want them to make a plan. So again, this is just a way to distill down the 100 million, 1,000 gazillion thoughts and ideas and ways to do things to really narrow it down and make it as simple as possible for people to understand what you want them to know, feel, and do. And then repurposing content, again, to Mike Wilson's point, these are great folks to go in, use their content, plagiarize, use it. Please give people credit when and if you can. Just the nice thing to do. So tabling an event. I know that this is really important as new fire safe councils. Here's some photos of, let's see, this is the California Fire Safe Council in mountain communities. So I just wanted to show you kind of what our tables look like. And then it's a Cal Fire one as well here, where they've got a great, fire person that you can stand in and take a picture. They have this fun fire engine. So you can really make it your own. And again, when you think about your audience, you think about your story, you think about who is going to be there, you can really tailor it to that. So a couple items that I think is crucial to have. You got to have a folding table. I love the director's chair because it's put you a little bit up above the table. So you don't look like you're hiding back there and you're down on your phone and, it just doesn't look very inviting, right? So you sit up, your present, your smiling face. You got to have a table cover, of course, Mrs. cards, banners, the yellow pop-up sign. Those are really great to have. They're really light. And you can put a ton of information on one of those. And they have them for table and for the ground. Weights. So this is something that you are going to love me for if you don't already have it. These are little lead bag weights, because when you are at an event like this with all your brochures and the wind blows, it's a real problem. So, and you can get the sand weights branded. So again, put your brand everywhere, put that logo everywhere. You got to bring some swag. So that stuff, it stands for stuff we aren't getting or we are getting, depending, flashlights, keychains, water bottles. We have these with Fire Safe. So these are great swag. Everybody loves free stuff. And of course, always bring your smiles. You're talking about your community. You're talking about something that you're passionate about. Bring your smile and get ready to talk. All right. When you're at an event, I highly recommend creating a crowd photo release. I'm really close. Okay. A crowd photo release. Rather than having to go around, if you're taking video or photos, asking people to sign a photo release, this is a really great way to do it. And again, you're going to get this at the end of the webinar, so you can, copy paste the language. So we created what you see here, crowd photo release. This was actually created as a magnet, and then it went on to that sandwich board, and we bought two, and we kind of put out in different areas of our events. We remind folks that we are taking photo video, and if they don't want to be included, please talk to us. And then this is a magnetic sign, so we can change it. We can use for other purposes. Again, I'm going to have the link in here, so you could go to Amazon or wherever and order it. But this has been a really great way to streamline and make sure that we are, legal and compliant in our photos and videos if we want to post it afterwards. Photo and video gear, you guys asked a little bit about this. The biggest recommendation I can give for video at this point is audio. Sounds odd, but nobody's going to watch a video if they can't hear you and it's not good solid audio. This little microphone here goes right into your iPhone, and it's brilliant. It gives you the most amazing audio. It's less than $100, and again, you will have the links here. Also, if you're going to be doing a lot of webinars, we're in the time of COVID, although I'm not, so do as I say, not as I do. I would recommend a headset with a microphone. Again, people will excuse bad visual if they can hear you, right? So audio, audio, audio. A few things again, lighting. We have here one of those ring lights. I highly recommend it if you're in a place where you need some light on you. And then a practical, this was, I made this little design here just to talk about video. I know that a few of you are interested. So I just wanted to put this out there that you don't have to have lights for video. You could use the sun, or you could use a, just a light in your home. But I just wanted to make sure that folks saw that the camera and the light kind of come at the subject at angles like this on opposite sides. If you can remember that and you can get clear audio, you guys are on your way to making an Oscar-worthy movie. So a couple of folks on social media, if you want to get started to follow, these are really great folks on Twitter. I don't have a list yet for LinkedIn, but you know what? I'm going to put that on my to-do list. But this is Twitter. Again, you guys will get this. Follow these folks. They're brilliant. You can repurpose their content, and they're just really great to watch what's happening kind of at that bigger level, and also at the community level, what's working on the ground for them. So that was a lot. Thank you for hanging in there with me. We will be giving more webinars, and we do have more workshops, hopefully with COVID gone, that we do dig a little deeper into some of these. Please remember, I'm here for you. We also have Megan Kadich, who's our communications assistant who works with us. We are more than happy to help. We love this stuff. We're communications nerd. So let us know how we can help. And if you have any questions, let me know. And that is it.
Thank you, Laura. That was amazing as always. I always appreciate you. Does anyone have any questions for Laura about what she presented on?
I don't know, but I want you on my speed dial, Laura.
That's very sweet, Doug. Thank you.
Again, I know that we're throwing a lot of information at you, so if you need to take time to process it, we can ask questions at the end, but if there was any initial that sparked your mindset, just wanted to give the time right now. Okay, well, thank you again, Laura. I will be sending out her slides with all the links and attachments. Again, thank you so much. That was such valuable and important information. Next, I will be introducing Rachel Brady, who is the CFSC GIS specialist, and she will be talking about GIS resources for you folks to use. And I'll go ahead and pass it over to her now.
Hey everyone. So if we aren't having a good time yet, stay tuned because now it's time for GIS. So it's hard to follow Laura, but I'm going to try my hardest to keep you guys engaged and, seal up this 2-hour event. So we're just going to do a quick introduction to GIS today, talk about how it can be used, and then show you some resources. So this is going to be a live web page that we're going to continually update and drop more resources in as things progress over time, right? So we'll send this link out, so don't stress if I lose anybody. And we're just going to go over some basics. So what is GIS, right? Everybody wants to have a GIS. Everybody uses GIS in their day-to-day activities, but we don't always know exactly what that means. And so to have a true GIS, it's a geographic information system. And it's a spatial system that creates, manages, and analyzes maps and all types of data. So just think of it kind of as like a giant database where we're going to house everything that we want to know where it's at on the world. So what is GIS? It's the maps, it's analysis, it's data, it's the software, it's those satellites up above us. There's careers that are built completely around it. And it's those apps on your phone. It's that little blue dot that follows you around. And I don't know about any of you guys, but I took my niece and nephew to DC, and that little blue dot is how people live and die these days of being able to navigate. Most of us have grown up with paper maps in our hands, and we're used to those. But this newer generation lives and dies by those apps on their phone and their little blue dot that follows them around. So when we talk about GIS and mapping, it's really we want to be able to tell the story when we have our data, right? We want to create geographic data. We want to know where is the work being done on the ground. And we want to manage this through a database. And then eventually we want to be able to analyze and find patterns, because not only do we want to know where the work is being done on the ground, but we also want to know where do we need to do work on the ground, right? Most of us in our local communities can start to identify areas where work needs to be done. But as that work gets completed, we will need to be able to prioritize and talk to our constituents in a manner that allows us to show them why it's such a problem. And one of my favorite quotes is, because if you don't fully understand your data until you see it relates to other things in a geographic concept. So everything is related, right? So this is the basis for GIS. So just some couple resources that are out there. The first resource is QGIS. It's a completely free open source GIS. Lots of people do use it. However, if you are brand new to GIS and you do not have a background in GIS, it often has a pretty steep learning curve. They don't have as much of the training documents and help to get you started. Esri does offer a paid subscription of $100 per year that gives you access to their entire suite. And that access provides you with everything that they have that most people pay over $5,000 to $10,000 for. That same suite is made available to nonprofits for $100 per year. So as most of the California Fire Safe people know, I wholeheartedly preach that Esri is a great resource, and they have a lot of training documents to help you get started in GIS and truly understand the basis and how to grow it over time. Because once you open this can of GIS worms, you're going to be hooked. It's like social media, right? You can go big or you can go small, but you don't want it to take up all your time. So you need to be able to use the tools, and Esri has that ability to help you. And then another free resource is Google Earth, right? Most of us probably have used Google Earth at some point. And that gives you the ability to share KMZs and KMLs of your project areas. Google Earth, while it's great and it's free, it can get cumbersome to manage, especially if you have multiple projects and you're trying to share data across to different organizations. So a couple of things that I just want to talk through is like, what can you do with GIS? So as you heard about in the first presentation, we are collecting through surveys our success stories. And this is just kind of a snippet of what it looks like. But this is what it actually looks like when you navigate to it. And it allows people to enter the data, and it allows us to be able to access it quickly and uniformly, and then be able to map it appropriately. The next thing that we do have is interactive maps. So you can make your maps interactive. So this is one that we have to be able to find your local fire safe council. So you can click on this and you can zoom out and you can see all of the fire safe councils in California. And then let's say we wanted to go up to Siskiyou and we wanted to find some information out. So it'll do a 10-mile search radius. So let's do a 10-mile search radius on weed. And it will give us all of the fire safe councils that are in the area with their contact information, if they've made it available, their website, any of that information that we might need. And it also tells you when it was last updated by us. So we did a big launch in August, and so most of them are updated in that time frame. But as things continue, you can see how we continue to update it over time. One of the things that most people use are static maps, right? So everybody loves a good static map. You put it on a website, you can share it, you can print it out as a paper version, and you can hand it to people. So that's another use of GIS, right? We can also use it to tell stories. And this storytelling is is a new thing that we're trying out here at the Fire Safe Council, because telling the story of what everybody's doing helps everybody understand how they can make an impact. So one of the ones that we're just about to release officially is this Mountain Communities Fire Safe Council. And one of the things I want to highlight is how everybody works together, right? So this is the federal and state fuels reduction map that we've made that just sources what the state and federal governments are up to. And as we click through it, we can see that this is what Mountain Communities Fire Safe Council has been doing. This is the work they've been doing on the ground. And lastly, we can put those two together to show the collective work that's being done on the landscape. And then we can click one more time and we can see how that fire history impacts the fuels reduction that is being done on the landscape. And when you read through this story map, you'll understand just how this little area right here actually did save the community of Idlewild. And that is what the stories that we need to share so that people understand the impacts that we are making as fire safe councils. And lastly, everybody likes to visualize data, or I guess maybe it might just be me, but I love good data visualization. I want to be able to interact and see what has the Fire Safe Council been doing for these last couple of years, right? So in 2020, if I click this, it'll show me where those projects were funded on the landscape. Maybe I want to go back to 2014 and see where those projects were, and also see how many plans were created, how many workshops were held, how many acres were treated. These are all questions that we're getting asked on a more regular basis. And it's important that we can be able to answer those questions so that people can understand our impact and hopefully want to give us more money, right? That's our goal, is to be able to get all of these projects funded and to reduce the risk on the landscape while building resiliency. So here is the beginning of some resources that you can use. So the Esri new user training, they offer a 21-day just free and clear, like try out the software, see if you like it. And then you can subscribe for $100 a year. And then there's some GIS, there's the GIS NASA story map, which I think is just interesting because it talks about some of those live feeds that's coming from NASA and NOAA. The U.S. Forest Service GIS Clearinghouse also has a lot of GIS data available, as well as the FRAP data. And then fire locations and perimeters. So in the summer when things are going and the world is on fire, you can use this base map or this map to visualize where the fires are. There isn't as much activity as, the middle of summer. This one always is a lot more fun in the middle of summer, but it'll show you the hot spots. It'll show you where fires have been reported, and it lets you be able to interact. And you can also share this with your constituents, right? So that they have an understanding of where those fires are occurring. So that pretty much wraps up mine. We're gonna send this story map out just so you guys can interact with it as well. And, continuously revisit this because we're going to continue to add more and more resources as we find them and come across them just to help everybody expand their GIS opportunities. And I'm going to pass it back to Nina.
Thank you, Rachel. Those are some great GIS resources. I know that was a need expressed by some folks in that needs assessment survey. So thank you for visualizing that for us. She also used the Story Maps platform to present the resources. So just a lot of different uses there that can be done with ArcGIS Online and its associated softwares and platforms. Would anyone have any questions for Rachel regarding GIS resources and what she just presented on? Okay, well, if any do come up, oh, sorry, Amber, if any do come up, please let us know.
I think we've overwhelmed them.
I think a little bit. I do want to open up the floor if there were any questions for Becca and I regarding grants, any questions for the RCs, the fellows, Laura, and communications. Doug, I see you unmuted. Did you have a question?
Yeah, no.
I actually don't. I think that we were going to reach out to you, Nina, and talk a little bit about the the current grant, but I don't think this is the right forum for that. But we'll reach out after this call.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Robert, did you have a question?
No, I just wanted to thank everybody for the time. Presentations were very informative, but as you said, there's mountains of information. So I look forward to receiving the presentations, digesting them a little bit at a little bit slower pace, but certainly a lot of good resources to not only help us get going, but to help us for many years to come, I'm sure.
Thank you. So glad to hear. Becca, do you want to go ahead and put up everyone's contact information? So this will be included in the grants team presentation that will also be sent out, but feel free to take a screenshot or photo of it now just so you have it for your records. We have our executive director and clearinghouse manager, as well as the information for everyone who's presented today. And I can also send out the fellows emails if anyone is interested and needs those as well.
Yeah, I'll second what Robert said. I'm just really excited about working with you guys and so excited to see that there's so much here behind us. So yeah, we got a lot to digest, but we're going to be reaching out to a lot of you guys that presented to us today. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Thank you for both attending. I appreciate it. Becca, did you have anything to add?
I did. I just wanted one quick, and Doug, it was great lead in. As you can see, I locked out my kitten, and I don't know if anyone saw, she broke in the room with a rudeness. I just wanted to say huge thank you to our presenters. Thank you for the CFFC staff that came and assisted today, and just also huge thank you to the grantees. Really, your participation is what made this possible, and your feedback and your willingness to share And like Doug said, this isn't, I know your grant end date is coming soon. We only have a few more weeks, but this should not be the last time we're checking in. This shouldn't be the last time that we're talking. So please reach out to Lara. Please reach out to Brittany. Please reach out to me. Like, we want to be here as a resource for you, and didn't want to just give you money and run. Like, we want to be here to support. So just huge. Know this was a lot of info, but just very excited to continue our relationship moving forward.
Yeah.
Thank you.
However you want to
Thank
give
you.
money is really okay.
Okay, perfect. We'll keep that in mind.
But the money's the easy part. It's betting and all this other stuff that is,
Yeah.
That's certainly the challenge. But it's good to know we've got the resources behind us. It's going to save oodles of time.
Thank you. I want to open it up to Amber or Hetty if you have any
Yeah,
closing
I did want to say one
comments.
quick thing. I'm trying to put I'm a new fire safe council. What are the important things I would recommend that you take away? Because we gave you so much information. And, I was part of a new fire safe council years ago, and this level of information and really diving into your personal logos and your needs and asking you questions wasn't available back then. So I'm just so thrilled that we are able to offer that now. I think I would start, if I could take a couple takeaways from today, is definitely become involved in Brittany's Southern California region brown bag meetings they have monthly. I think that'll put you in touch with other groups. I often find that networking with similar groups in the same area is their best resources there, just asking them how they did what they did. And those things have been the best resource for us. So I would get involved in those meetings, and that will be a much slower conversation where you can really dive into maybe deeper questions you have. Obviously, once you get all of the PowerPoints, kind of going through and what are your priorities first, right? Like, if you don't even have a website, don't get into SEO, don't get into GIS, but kind of think of where do you want to go with your program, and how the information we've provided can get you there. Obviously, reach out to us if you have more questions, but I would really start with sort of Brittany's meetings and kind of going there to flesh out maybe ideas you have, and then reach out to us directly if you have specific questions. So that would be my takeaway if I was a new group.
Just a quick reminder, the meetings via Zoom are on our events calendar on the website, but we also will be emailing that out with the rest of this information. So again, a pleasure to meet you all. Thank you for sticking with us, and happy digesting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Amber, for those closing words. Just a quick reminder, I did send out an email to the project contacts yesterday regarding the closeout documents, and just want to remind everyone again that those dates are coming up soon. And so I will be following up if anyone needs any assistance with those grant closeout documents. Doug, thank you. I will follow up with Oak Park later after this and see what any lingering questions you might have are. And then I'll be sending out this recording as well as the presentations and links from everyone today. Just thank you so much again for attending and for your participation. Hope you took away a few or many key notes from today.